Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Magicians Without Borders Conversations. I am so glad that this is happening. We're so excited for today's episode because it's with one of our favorite persons in the world, one of my favorite persons in the world. And it's going to be great to explore how, we've developed this friendship and how also he has helped us move this project forward in Costa Rica. So it's going to be a pleasure for me to talk to him and also with Tom. But before we start, and as always, I want to tell you about our store. Remember that we have a store that you guys can go and purchase magic from us, so you can have a show at your house, your birthday party, or in your corporate events with magicians from Magicians Without Borders, and also our students. This is so important because our students in the slums of big cities in South America can be entertainers in your house or in your company. So we have shows, we also have workshops, and we also have a magic course called Become a Magician, taught by the founder of Magicians Without Borders, Tom Verner. And you can learn from him how to do yourself a 30-minute magic show. It's a wonderful place. So you can go get it at store.magicianswithoutborders.com. All of this can be purchased as a gift as well. So let me just bring him on. Tom, how are you?
I'm very happy to be here and very excited to talk with our guest.
Yes. How are you, Tom?
I'm good. I'm good. Is there an echo or anything? No. It's okay.
I don't hear an echo.
Okay, good. Good. Yeah, I'm very excited to spend this next hour with you and Diego. Yes. I couldn't be happier.
Yes, Tom. So I just wanted to say, thank you for being here, Tom, and taking the time to do this as you do every Wednesday. And I just wanted to acknowledge your persistence over the last 20 weeks we've been doing this. This is the
20 weeks and 20 years, Magicians Without Borders. It's great.
Yeah. That's awesome.
This is our 20th week. That's very good.
Yeah, it seems like a long time, but it also feels like yesterday.
That's this year, 2020, has
or last year, 2020. Yeah.
I mean, last year. Thank goodness, last year. It was just a really very, very long year in many ways, this was a highlight of the year every Wednesday night for the last 20 weeks to spend time with you and the marvelous guests we've had. And it's been a wonderful experience for me to hear all those experiences that people have had working with Magicians Without Borders and the marvelous stories. And it's been wonderful.
It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful, Tom. So before we introduce our guest, do you have any stories from him? Do you want to share your first impressions of Diego before we bring him on?
I think Diego is another person who wrote me probably 35 times before I finally responded. I I I have a New Year's resolution to try to respond more quickly to emails, but I just met someone yesterday who doesn't have a cell phone or a computer, has never, she's like 50 years old, has never had a cell phone or a computer. But I met Diego. I would love to talk with him about this, but we finally connected, and I was in El Salvador, and he came from Costa Rica on a bus, and I'd love to hear about that experience. And he came all the way to El Salvador, and we did a bunch of shows, and I think we have some footage of some of those shows, and
it's gonna be
a delight. Everyone in El Salvador loved Diego. It was great.
Yeah, I think we all loved him. We all fell in love with him. So we're gonna be with him and asking him some questions. But you know, the questions that we ask him and our guests and the things that we talk about, we come up with it ourselves, and we love for you guys to help us out. So we've come up with this. It's called the Mailbag episode, meaning that the last Wednesday of each month, we're going to have a questions from you that we're going to answer in the podcast, and also questions that you would like us to ask our guests, or which guests you would like us to have, or if you do social magic in any place in the world, we'd love to hear from you. So please send your questions and comments to podcast@magicianswithoutborders.com or tweet them at magicianswb. We would love to hear from you. And without further ado, this is the guy that we are having with us today, Tom. His name is Diego Vargas. He is a Costa Rican magician superstar. He was just awarded the Alan Slight Rising Star, International Rising Star of 2020. He is one of Costa Rica's most famous and most highly sought after magicians. And well, he's here with us. Diego, welcome. Bienvenido, Diego.
How are you?
Hola, hi.
Hola.
Hola, hi, Tom. Hi, Carlos. And hi to the people that are watching this through Facebook, through YouTube, or wherever you're watching or hearing this. It's always a pleasure to be around my heroes. That will be the word for you guys.
Oh, thank you. It's just a pleasure seeing your face. It's wonderful. And I hope when this pandemic passes, we end up in the same place at the same time, and talking and walking and performing, and it would be great.
Yes,
I would love to. Yes, whatever, whenever. I'll be happy to. How are you guys?
Very good.
Happy to see you, both of your faces, and all the people that are here. You know, we've got Jason, who's joining us from Facebook. We've also got Marianne, who's joining us from YouTube. We've got people like Felipe, who's saying that, 20 years. Yes, it's been a long time of Magicians Without Borders. And, people are saying that congratulations that we have a new branch in Costa Rica. So Daniel López actually said that. Entonces, Daniel, un saludo. Qué bueno que estés acá viendo esto. Te mando un saludo gigante. Daniel was one of our students in Bogotá. It's pretty cool that he's here. And we've got, people from all over. So just tell us in the chat where you're connecting from. Díganos por el chat desde dónde se están conectando. Y si tienen alguna pregunta, háganla por ahí, que nos encantaría escucharlas. So if you got any questions on the chat, just let us know. And Diego, so if by any chance nobody or somebody does not know you, just tell us, introduce yourself. Who are you? Who's Diego Vargas? And what do you do?
So, hi, my name is Diego Vargas. I am a happiness nuclear reactor. And since I am a kid, I am obsessed with making people happier. I wake up in the morning thinking, how can I make someone happy? And when I discovered magic, it was like getting superpowers. I am the third of four kids from Edgar, who's my dad, Lidia, who's my mom. I am, well, it's a very artistic family from a little town in the rural area of Costa Rica. It is called Guayabo, near to Puriscal. A few years ago, well, not maybe, maybe not just a few, but some years ago, I decided I wanted to make magic my life. When that happened, I was feeling a little meaning, like without purpose, and then I found Magicians Without Borders that saved my life.
Oh.
Oh, Diego, come on. You're so sweet. Diego, this is so cool for us to have
The
you
truth.
here.
This is the truth. Hello to Diana Villegas and to the people that are connecting in Costa Rica.
The people from Escalante in Costa Rica, Pura Vida, to all of them, thank you for joining us. So, Diego, just tell us, you come from this artistic family, but how did you get into magic?
So I get into magic because, as I was saying, I really like to make people smile. Well, there are a couple of things, so my father will say he will perform magic. He did not. At the end, he actually did, but he will like put out a coin out of my ear. I will go like, what? How can my father do this? So I wanted to become a magician as well. And my aunt gave me, she gave me for Christmas a magic kit. Pretty much like the magic kit you can get from Magicians Without Borders and the classes you can get. But these ones are better, by the way. So purchase from Magicians Without Borders, our classes. So I discovered magic when I was around 7, 8 years old because my father would perform some magic for me. My aunt gave me a little box. There's not a lot of magic culture in Costa Rica, so I actually didn't thought I could become a professional magician. But then everything happens in the right place, in the right moment, and I end up becoming a magician.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Do you have any early memories of your first magic performances? Like how was it like?
Well, sadly I do.
Okay, sure. Please.
If I could choose a superpower, how about erasing that one? So for example, hi to my neighbor Francisco, who is watching this, in Israel. So I remember I will need several cards for several different tricks. So I will use like 4 different decks for 4 different effects. So I will be going behind the table and say, "Oh, 1 second," because was this the deck I need for this trick? So my first show was for a cousin that now he was turning 12. Now he's big and working and something like that. But yes, I do remember it was a show for the family. And maybe people don't know this, but performing for the family is a very hard thing because they will never see a magician. They will always see their cousin, their nephew. So it was a hard show, but we pulled it through.
You pulled through. But yeah, okay, from that first show, yeah, when you start first, getting good reactions, and how was your feeling about performing change? Like do you remember when did it change from being like, this is so hard to do, I'm so nervous, to wow, I really enjoy this and this is so cool?
So, well, depends on what I'm performing. I still think something is very hard. I mean, if I'm performing something that is very technical, very new to me, I still think it's hard. What I do remember is this. I remember getting the box from my aunt, being a kid, and performing the cup and base, the ball and base for my cousin, and see his face changing. Like he will saw a unicorn, but from a third world country, and a little kid, a brunette kid, unicorn. His face changed entirely, and that was very impressive. Juan Tamariz will say that our paintings are people's emotions, people's faces. I wouldn't think of that way that very moment, but it was It was it was a very powerful image that I just create this smile in my cousin's face in just a few seconds.
Pretty cool.
That is that's really an amazing thing, you know. I mean, if we stop and think about it, I mean, the way I think about it sometimes, Diego, is, and we can do that with the silliest little things, you know,
Yes.
like a sponge ball, or
Yes.
or a coin, or a pencil, or something. I mean, it's really quite amazing what a gift magic has been to me in my life, you know.
I highly agree, and that's why I don't think I am exaggerating when I say Magicians Without Borders saved my life, because at some point I was thinking, so I have this ability, I have this capability to do this art, but how can I impact people's lives? Because that's something I have been always followed by. And then I realized there's something like Magicians Without Borders. It was not in that very moment. It was not Magicians Without Borders. It was me working in a hospital. But then I realized it existed, and I was not alone. And that was that sense of community of, it was the best.
Yeah.
And do you remember, can you tell us a little bit more about it? Like how, or when did you first hear of Magicians Without Borders? How was that encounter of you with an organization that you know does what we are calling social magic, and how did it feel? You already said, you know, you're not alone, so there's more people doing this. But how was that? You know, learning about Magicians Without Borders or finding out?
So I had no idea that this existed. I was already doing magic in jails and in hospitals. I worked with the. By the way, I even had this tradition of in my birthday going to the children's hospital, but this year I don't think I'm gonna make it. So I'm lacking something for my birthday. So I was doing social magic, and then I am in. There was I don't know how to say this in English, but laugh therapy, is that the way of saying it? Patch
You could
Adams?
say that, yeah.
So a clown from the Patch Adams Foundation was in my college, and he was doing some laugh therapy. So I went to him and I performed some sponge balls, and I said to him, "Hey, I really like to make people smile with magic." And he went to me and he said, "Hey, do you know Magicians Without Borders?" And I'm like, "What?" A freeze. The world freeze for that second. It's the first time in my life I am hearing this name. And I went back to my hometown in Puriscal, and I went to YouTube, and I like some people are in YouTube right now, and thank you for this, still being here. And I wrote down Magicians Without Borders, and then Tom's face popped up, and it was one of the. I just couldn't believe it. Two things I do remember. The first thing is remembering the first lines of the video from scratch, because I was going back and back and back, because I had a very poor internet connection in 2011 in a rural area of Costa Rica. And then thinking to myself, I can't believe this exists. I can't believe this guy, Tom Verner, who looks like Santa Claus, is real. It may be that was, by the way, that was my true impression. I was like, what is this? Like the true Santa Claus? And so then is what Tom said. I went to Facebook. I saw the entire video. If you haven't seen it, you can go and type Magicians Without Borders. It's Tom performing in India, saying language is magic is a language itself. And then I sent a message to Tom saying I really wanted to help in the project, and I got nothing back. Till a couple of years later.
And I think that's very important. Till a couple of years later, because that was 2011, right?
That's 2011, yes.
2011. And I mean, with you, Diego, we have lived so many experiences. I mean, you've been to or many of our projects and done a lot of things with us. I would love for you I mean, for this to be the first of many times that we have you on, because we can talk about each of those experiences for a full hour. And today I would like us to just focus on Costa Rica, because I went to Costa Rica in 2015 and did a talk. And on the audience, there was a guy called Nestor and Charles. So actually two guys, Nestor and Charles. And they heard the talk. They were impressed. They were very, very eager to bring the program, our education chapter, to Costa Rica. And they were very encouraged to do it. And we were missing the magician. I love the way that you put it on one of Diego's TED Talks, which is amazing. You say that if Magicians Without Borders wants to come to Costa Rica, I think the magician is very important. So it was pretty important that they got you. So tell us about that. How did that connection happen? Because you knew about Magicians Without Borders, right?
So I knew about Magicians Without Borders. I just thought it was a little impossible thing to happen. And I liked the Facebook page, and I was friend with Tom Verner on Facebook. I didn't knew he didn't use it. And then I am in a breakfast that it was about companies, corporate with purpose. That was the main thing of the breakfast. A girl come to me and she says, "Hey, you're a magician. Someone from Magicians Without Borders is looking a magician." So she gave me Nestor's contact, and I thought Nestor was a magician. So I was thinking to myself, I've never seen this magician. Who is this guy? I'm not very familiar with this magician. So we start talking, and he told me, "No, I'm not a magician. We want to bring this to Costa Rica." And he wanted to explain to me, like, I know what this is. I've been following these guys for years now. And thanks to Nestor and Charles, we got in communication. And I started talking to Carlos, and then Carlos told me, "Diego, we're going to El Salvador. Can you make it?" And it was 2 months before the trip, and I was not. I was living on my own in a little apartment. I was thinking, how can I go to El Salvador in 2 months? And then a company hired me for the exact amount I needed, and I went to El Salvador. And in that very moment, I actually realized I was about to meet Tom Verner.
That's so cool. And actually, we met you, and the first thing that we did with you was go to some rural schools in El Salvador and do some shows.
That was the first show we did together, and it was very impressive for me because I don't think there's a gentle way of putting this, but sometimes you have a big heart, but you have a big heart. And then I was watching such a very well done magic by Tom Verner, and so I as a magician, I was very impressed because the magic Tom was doing, it was phenomenal. It was like top level magic, and it was a very emotional moment to think to myself, this so well done magic, this perfectly done magic can be performing anywhere, but I'm watching it here in El Salvador, in this very rural area. So I really thank Tom for that moment.
Thank you, Diego.
Because in here we're only talking, but Carlos is a great magician, but Tom is a outstanding magician, freaking amazing magician.
I agree completely. And the way that he does the show with no microphone, no lights, no stage, in the middle of nowhere, or like this, where we are in a school with no setup, or a very limited setup. For example, you, Diego, right now are serving as the mic stand. So,
look at that. Yes, I'm doing the mic stand. Well, yeah.
and we were actually performing with one of the students in El Salvador. So I want to point this out because for me this was very important, and this comes with a question that one of the followers, our followers, is doing on the chat, who is a follower that's always there. She's always with us, always supporting me because she's my mom. And my mom is asking us, in this 20 years, what have been the experiences or that are that are like superlative experiences that have motivated us to persist and keep going to get this initiative to other countries. And I think that's a very cool question because this work, even though it's very rewarding, it's very hard, it's very difficult, it's very uncertain. But what's happening in that picture, I think it's wonderful because we are, even though you might see this and it's like, oh, it's a magic show at a school. So it's a school where our local partner at the time in El Salvador called Glasswing helped us put on. So Glasswing is an NGO in El Salvador that does work in this school in the rural, in some rural parts of El Salvador. But the show is being done by a soon-to-be volunteer of Magicians Without Borders, Diego, or who was actually a volunteer at that time, and one of the students of El Salvador, who she's right there, and that student was being taught magic by Marisela and Peter, our alumni. So yes, there's a lot going on in this picture, and that's one of these superlative experiences that for me, mean a lot. You can see that it's just a magic show, but it's so much more going, in the behind the scenes. But to get back to the story, yeah, Diego, this was the first time that we met you, and you ended up doing a lot of shows with us over there.
Yes, we did. So that's the first time I'm performing with Magicians Without Borders. That's right. That was the first show.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I think that was the second show. That was the second show, and that clip you have there is probably my favorite clip of mine in ever.
Yes, and here is something that's very cool that we're going to show you. I think it's my favorite magic clip of all time, reaction to magic of all time. We're going to see it in a second, but I want you to see what's happening on the background. So on the background, there's a Marisela and Peter. So this is Marisela. And
I haven't put attention to that.
Yeah, so they are the teachers of a new group of students in El Salvador, and they are our alumni. So once again, there's so much more happening in these pictures and in these shows that keeps us going. But as we said, Diego had this experience with this girl in a rural part of El Salvador in a public school, and this is when we all fell in love with him. So let's just watch this clip. You want to say something before the clip, Diego, or after?
That was a very hard show because it didn't have any sound at all. So we had like the vocals exploded from the first show. So I mean, the first show was already a hard show, but this one was even harder because we didn't have any sound, and it was so it's those kind of shows where you have to throw all the energy that you can.
Yeah, I agree, and this is the energy. Let's get a look at it.
La magia, Gaby, ¿está lista? A la cuenta de 3. 1, 2, 3, sopla, Gaby. Y abre las manos, Gaby, abre las manos por ahí.
It's a great clip, no? It's just so cool to see that reaction. So cool.
It doesn't get better than that. That's about as good as it gets.
I highly agree. That was a great show. But after the show, I feel like the show was like, they couldn't be better, because it was a hard show. And then every time I saw this clip, I think that was like the greatest show ever.
Yeah.
I
I think that I don't know, it somehow is feeling very important to me at the moment that so many of the shows these last 20 years in refugee camps or orphanages or out in these rural schools or whatever are done with no lights, no sound, no, just us and the kids and our energy together. And it feels like a miracle that kind of wonder can happen without any, super staging or anything.
I totally agree. And being technical, like magic technical, and I'm sorry to board non-magicians, but Darwin Ortiz will say in A Strong Magic that magic can rely on their own. Lighting is good, music is good, but magic by itself is already powerful enough. And I think what you just said is, it says, it's true. Just put some love in what you're doing, and people will drive crazy with magic.
But you could also analyze just those little, like those 25 seconds that we just watched, and the way you stepped back, the way you paused. I mean, all of that is so important. It's not high tech, but it's the real tech. It's the real that timing and body, and it's just fantastic.
Honor coming from you. Yeah, thank you. And that routine I haven't done it in several. And now I'm thinking, I'm missing this right now. Thank you, Tom.
Yes. It was such a wonderful routine and such a a simple trick, or how it's a classic and everybody does it, but it's just so powerful. And I think the word that comes to my mind when we do these shows is that it's very raw. I mean, it's very real and very raw, because you're seeing a reaction that's super genuine, and that it's so right there and there, without any of the other things, without the lighting, without the stage, without the sound, without anything. It's just the amazement of a volunteer with the magic itself, and that's so raw, so cool, so great.
And in some ways that might increase the sense of magic and wonder that this is just you and me and a sponge ball,
Yeah. That you checked previously.
Pardon?
That you checked previously.
Yeah, that's true. Fully examined. Yeah.
Fully examined. Yes. And for people that are listening to this in the podcast, there's a link on the show notes of that video. So please make sure that you see it, or you can see it in the presentation as well, and the images that we share. And that's when this happened. You're here with Tom Verner, and Tom Verner gave you a shirt and officially welcomed you to Magicians Without Borders. Finally,
that moment is
finally.
It's one of my favorite moments. We see that table that Tom is holding the chair, and you told me how the project worked and how working every country and what will be the next steps. And you told me that you want me to lead the Costa Rican Magicians Without Borders, and you gave me a shirt that said Magicians Without Borders. And till now, I wanna cry. It's a very those dream moments that shouldn't happen. They shouldn't happen. It's just too good to be true.
Yeah,
it shouldn't happen, but it did, right? It's like magic itself.
Exactly.
It totally did. You feel that's impossible, but it's happening in front of your eyes, and it's like,
well, it's like
the moment zero,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like you feel that the rules of the universe are screwed up right now. They're just put on pause because this is happening. And that's so cool, and that gave way to to this wonderful friendship and this wonderful start of the program. Then I got to visit you. You were already teaching the kids in Tirrases. That's where we are.
Yeah.
So tell me where this is. I had just gotten off the plane, and I think you took me to, was either where you studied, near where you studied, or near where you were staying?
Oh, got it. Yeah, well, yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, I didn't recognize it. That's a little, in Costa Rica, we call it Soda. It's like a little restaurant near Universidad de Costa Rica. And we headed to Tirrases, that is the place where the project is. So we can go to the next picture, mentor, Carlos. Just before I go to this, because right here are my students and my children's. But I remember going to the school to sixth graders, fifth graders, and seven high school juniors, and I went to perform magic at each class one by one. And at the end of the class, I will say, "We're teaching magic here," and they will go like, "What? We're learning magic here." And this was when the project was already starting, and we performed with Carlos. And right there, we have some of the kids that are still in the project, in the front line.
I think that's a wonderful thing that we have in this picture, because you can see that. Oh, I mean, of course. What's the saying, Tom? That hindsight is 2020. Is that how they say it?
Yeah.
So yeah, because you could say the two guys that are in front. So Vale, who's her right here, and Abraham, who's him right here. They're in front.
And next to Abraham in the pink shirt, that could be either Steven or Adal. Could be either both, or Steven or Adal.
So you say the guys that are in front are the ones that wanted to do magic, and are the ones that really enjoyed it, and are the ones that are still in the project. Yeah. So a little bit of a close up, and this is Abraham, and this is Vale.
When they were like 12-year-olds, that's so cute to see them. Now they're so big.
Yeah, like if you see them now, they're grown ups. They're adults right now. But it's so cool to see that they were such, paying attention, sitting in front. And I'm just seeing a comment here that like, again, my mom, I love you, Mom. Thank you for being so engaged with this. She's just saying that the magic then happens when you're able to create a connection with the spectators, with the audience. And she said that it's the same thing with our students in this rural communities or in the slums, where we take the program of Magicians Without Borders. And I think that's right, that the magic happens when we have a connection with them. That when that connection that Abraham and Vale felt with magic is what had them work hard, because as you see, there's many kids here, but not all of them are with us today, because magic, you need to put hard work in it. You need to practice in order for you to be able to do something with it. So I think it's pretty cool that these kids were there in front, and that they kept with us. So I just wanted to tell you, Diego, can you tell us something about why it was important for you, or why is it important that this program is held where it's held, in Tirrases, with partner La Cometa?
So you told me a couple of things that I should look up to. And one of the things that I really liked about La Cometa is that they know the people in their community. They also had the correct infrastructure. Now they have even one that is way even better. But they could totally told me, this kid that came here to write his name down, he lives in that street, and his father is in jail, and this girl that is so that for me was very important, because we could definitely have a partner, not only a place to hold the project. So yeah,
I really liked those women who ran Cometa, they just were so connected to the community.
They're and they're a huge inspiration for me. Natalia and Jimena, they're both wonderful, wonderful human beings.
Yeah. I was just wondering. Go ahead, Carlos. Did you want?
I just wanted to highlight this comment that just you mentioned inspiration, Diego, and people think Diego is an inspiration as well. So thank you, Francisco, for that comment. So go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I was just wondering, just focusing on Iran and Bali for a moment, what do you think they took away or take away from learning magic for their lives? They're probably not going to become professional magicians or make a life of it. What do they take away?
So something that I loved about Magicians Without Borders is how we treat very personally each individual. So it's not the same for Abraham or for Vale. I mean, Vale has been always very, very tough, very, very brave. But I will say that the things Vale have learned is commitment. She has learned a lot of punctuality and getting things on time. And because Vale is, she's one of the bravest. When we have a big show or something, I go, hey, Vale. But then I had to sit with her and say, hey, Vale, we cannot get here late. We had a commitment here. And for Abraham is a very special case because he has a very harsh life. So for Abraham, I would say emotional support for sure, and dreams.
Say a little more about dreams. What do you mean?
When we say that magic can show people that impossible can happen, and that breaks barriers in people's. Abraham will be someone I could think of. So we say dreaming is free. In Spanish, we say soñar es gratis, but that's not that truth.
Right.
That is not that truth at all. I actually think that dreaming should be a common right. Because it is not, and so that's what I mean. I think magic has given Abraham the possibility of dreaming, because
so dreams and hope are so connected.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I remember one of the things that we did, it was what we did, a launch of the Costa Rican program in a beautiful theater, a movie theater actually, in Costa Rica, called El Magali, right? Am I right?
Yes.
El Magali. And I remember that Abraham actually had we put him on stage, and then we said, well, what do you think this program has done for you? What do you think this is important? And I remember him saying something to the effect of this has given me the opportunity to do something that nobody on my family has done before. And I am going to finish high school, right? No, not finish high school, go over 9th grade.
Yeah, going into 9th grade, actually.
Going what? Could you say
into
that again?
9th grade. Yeah, because he was the first in his family to go to get to 9th grade. All of the people in the family have get to 8th grade, the top,
and then they stop. Yeah.
So it gave him that perspective of saying, hey, can I be that guy? Can I be the one that goes over 9th grade or goes into 9th grade? And that, that was put on his mind because of we will never know, but I think that it's because of his ability to dream, of his ability to just imagine a different future that one of his
just having a different circle in. I mean, they live in a tough place. We will not sugarcoat that. They live in a tough place. Just having a circle where they can share their feelings, and I think that is already very, very important for them in the moment they are in their lives.
Yeah,
That's so cool. I mean, I say this all the time, you know, that for our students, studying magic awakens, you know, the dreams and makes what didn't seem possible possible. Can you see any specific connection between magic and that? I mean, I think, you know, playing football or dance or learning to play guitar. Is there anything special, do you think, about magic?
Well, yes. And entirely, because magic. I don't remember who said this, but it's the only art where people are expecting you to fail. When you go to play football, when you go to play guitar, no one is waiting. No one is expecting you to fail. The wrong chord to a string break apart. But people are trying to look for your secret when you're performing magic. So I think magic shows a lot of courageous. Takes a lot of. You're exposing yourself. I actually remember this. I actually remember one of the kids who is no longer in the program, but he was the top guy. He was the top, and he was from the toughest place of this tough place. So he was like the kind of gangster. So I put him on first in the show because he was very brave. He was very brave. And then the show starts, and he goes on stage, and there's 80 people watching, and he becomes very small, very, very small. I think that is something that's something that magic has as well, because people really pay attention to your hands and what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, can you say a little bit more about what you mean by him becoming very small from being this kind of big gangster, tough guy?
Humbleness.
Humbleness. Okay. Yeah.
I think magic teaches humbleness if you see it in the correct way, because
but people could think the opposite, you know, like you have all these secrets and magic power, and you should be.
The thing is, sometimes it happens the opposite.
I think we're in some kind of territory that's very important. What we're talking about right now. You know?
Yes, because it's actually very normal that it happens the opposite.
Yeah.
Because they think sometimes it's like I'm not just like the guardian of the secrets, but I have this ability that you don't. So let me show you, and I can do this, and you can't.
But there's another thing. There's another thing that I think is very powerful about magic, and is that magic is always is about giving. I cannot do magic by myself. If I do magic by myself, I am rehearsing. I'm not doing magic.
Right.
And in Latin America, these neighborhoods has been very the politics in Latin America has been always, we give you because you are poor, and suddenly they are the one that are givers. They are giving to other people, and even to people with money and people with power. So that's I think that's something that it's absolutely change the picture from the other things. You can play guitar by yourself. You can paint by yourself. You can't do magic if you're not giving it to someone else.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. That's very important, and to see that happening with the kids, I think is very cool, and to give them the opportunity to give this with somebody else, meaning something else that we did with you on the program. I think this was very important for the kids. This is one of our magic service trips where we got to have the magicians from the Yale Magic Society travel with us, with another French magician, Matthew, over here, and a professional magician from New York, Ben, over here, to Tirrases, and they got to meet the kids, and they did performances for the community in Tirrases. This was such an amazing experience, and
I remember that a couple of kids were in Nicaragua during that time. Here in Costa Rica, there's a big part of our population is from Nicaragua. So there's during December, January, there's a lot of people going to visit their families. And two of the kids were in Nicaragua visiting their families. And when they came back, they were like, "Oh no, how did we miss this?" Because all the kids were telling amazing things. And this is something Carlos once told me. He told me we bring people from different backgrounds that they will never be in the same place if we don't create this moment. So I think this was an amazing, and it was, I think, very transformative for the kids and for the magicians that came.
Yeah, I agree. That moment, when they are together building something at the same time, like at the end of our trips, the volunteers that travel with us and the kids of our program need to put together a show for a theater. And I think that's when we do this, right? We create this social tissue that was inexistent and that would probably never exist because they were not probably going to cross paths in any way. And this is what ended happening. This is a very cool short video that I want to share of how the kids were going to do this show on a big theater. So it was the first time that they were going to go into a theater to prepare for a show. And one of the volunteers wanted to capture that on video, and this is that moment.
So the kids are about to come up. This is the first time that they'll be seeing their dressing rooms. So I'm going to try to catch their reactions.
Está bonito, ¿no?
Sí, está muy bueno.
Oh, mira.
Ese es para nosotros.
Mira las puertas.
Ese es el de nosotros.
Mira las puertas.
Tenemos camerinos.
¿Qué dicen las puertas, man?
Ah, ¡oh! Lawrence igual.
Tenemos los camerinos.
Tengo que grabar eso. Este momento es especial. Demasiado.
Estamos hechos. Pásame mi celular.
That's such a cool moment, And the kids are just saying, for those two that speak English, they were saying, so they were walking to the dressing rooms and they're saying, is this our dressing room? Is this our dressing room? And then when I tell them, just look at this door, look at the door, they end up looking at the door and they see their names and stars. And they were like, oh, this is such a cool moment. This is such a special moment. I need to tape this. So I think
that was a great moment. And to see professional magicians that have performed in Vegas next to the kids from Tirrases doing the same effect, that was insane.
Yeah. If the kids can come away feeling like they're stars, that's pretty wonderful. Yeah.
It definitely is. That is a powerful thought, Tom. But yeah, it definitely is. And well, that's something also magic gives you, the chance of feeling star. Doesn't matter if you are in a refugee camp or in a very nice theater, because you're creating something special.
Because I think people, maybe especially from neighborhoods like Tirrases or Paradiso or Ciudad Bolivar, they don't feel like stars, No. And that's why they join gangs, And
because being a star is being the top guy. That's what being a star is being the top guy, the guy who beats everything and everyone. Yeah, but then you're a different star.
Yeah, but to be part of a magic gang, like where you're not hurting people, but you're healing them and making them smile, and it's a wonderful thing. You're really a star, shining light,
Yeah, and that's what we hear kids saying, that they feel that they have the ability to change someone's day or the mood that they're in, and they feel that they have that power. Hey, well, we're coming close to the end, so I want to ask Diego 2 questions before we leave. So, Diego, just can you please share with us something that you remember very vividly? One memory of the Costa Rican program that you just say this stands out.
Well, there's such a bunch. One moment.
I know it's hard to just pick one, but try to pick one.
Try to pick one moment. I will say the moment when I went to the schools and I performed and I told them they were about to learn magic. I think that was the reactions and their faces. That was the true magic. Yeah.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And now we ask this to everybody. Do you think, Diego, that you are a different person because of the experience with Magicians Without Borders? And if so, in what way?
Well, definitely yes. One way is that I kind of feel that I have children's, and I may be one day, like today, just mingling in my living room and then receiving a phone call from a mother or from a kid telling me a huge problem, and then I'm in a problem as well, because if there's if it's their problem, it's also my problem. So I think that's gotta be something. Has taught me ways of looking at magic very special also, and of course has given me the opportunity to become my Costa Rican teacher, Maironi. He will say, to become a better magician, become a better person. And I think I must be such a way better magician now, after just to be near you guys and the kids.
Mm-hmm. That's such a good thing they said to you, become a better magician, become a better person,
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So we hope that this has made all of you guys hearing better people. So if you want to support the work that Diego is doing and that we're doing in Costa Rica, please go to cr.magossinfronteras.org. So over there, you can click the donate button, and that donation will go directly to the Costa Rican program. So it's been wonderful to see you, Diego. This was just amazing. Thanks for being
here. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Mentor, for being part of my life. And I think we'll see each other more often here.
And one of my happiest memories on a Magicians Without Borders trip was staying at your family's home and meeting your mother and father, cooking with your mother, and meeting your sister and brother. And I hope I see them again sometime. And please, please, please say hello to them for me.
I will. And thank you to everybody that connected. And huge hug from Costa Rica.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.